All right, that's ready. So the tie is off. I don't know if any of you noticed that. So that means we're going to get serious, or at least Hope's going to get
Bob
serious.
coaches in jeans.
Somebody needs to take a picture. Where is Jesse? Jesse needs to get a picture of that. Yeah, we're going to report you to the Office of State Budget.
No, we got to take care of you.
Okay, so this is obviously the town hall. I'm glad all of you stuck around to be a part of this, and I really want you to be a part of this. This is important. This is a step to what's next. I'm going to get it started in a real quick way by having my vendor committee give away the prizes that people submitted business cards for. They can dance too while they're up there, whatever. Sing?
Sing and dance.
No?
No, neither. Good morning. So we have 5 prizes to give away this morning. So we'll just jump right into it. The first one is from Twin City Data. The MetaQuest virtual reality headset goes to Ashley Hunt from Bladen County. Ashley, come up and get your prize. If you're not here, we'll still get it to you. Don't worry. The second one is also from Twin City Data. This is the highly coveted trophy for the fastest Mario Kart time on the Nintendo Switch. And that goes to Michael Godwin from the city of Mount Holly. Here comes Michael. He's right here. Yeah. Give it to him. He wants it.
With pride.
Next one is from Transit and Level Clinic. It is a $50 Amazon gift card, and that goes to Andrew Shore from the city of Burlington.
I know Andrew left.
He's gone?
You want to take it for him?
Yeah.
Okay. Trish, it's a big responsibility. You good? Okay. The next one is from Civic Federal Credit Union. It is a backpack cooler filled with all sorts of goodies in there. I opened it up. There's a lot of swag in there. And that goes to Keegan Silver from Mitchell County. I saw Keegan a minute ago. And the last one is from Eagle View. It is a drone, although the drone is not here. It'll be mailed to the winner from Eagle View. But the winner is Heather Herman from the city of Jacksonville. Heather, if you're here, there's no reason to come up because there's nothing to give you. And that is it. So thanks for your attendance the last 3 days, and thank you to our vendors for all their generosity. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Yep. Thank you. All right. So now it's the hope and a little support from Tim show. So I don't think I'd be very good at it.
Oh, you'd be great.
So the purpose of today, this last hour, is to share some things with you based on some work that Hope and the council have done over the past 8 months,
Yeah.
9 months.
Yep.
And then have some questions that will lead into conversation and discussion. And you have an opportunity to tell us what you think, good, bad, or ugly. And we're going to take it to heart and take it back to the council.
You will not be judged. You will be anonymous. You can tell us if you want to tell us who you are. I need the clicker, so I got to go up here real quick. All right. So tell me who went to the outreach meetings that we did over the past 5 or 6 months. This is a lovely show of hands. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And several of you, am I in a terrible place? No. Yes. Natalie says yes. Do I need to be up there? Do I need to stand on a table? That's actually against the rules. I can't do that. I know because I've done it before and I got in trouble. So, and Trish, by the way, I'm not going to tell Andrew if you don't. So do with that card what you will. So one of the things that I did when I came in as chair is talk to all of the different chairs of the committees and ask them what works and what doesn't. And the first thing that they said to me was communication, communication, communication. It is something that we really need. We need it between all the groups. The other thing we learned was there are a lot of people in North Carolina that don't know what the GICC is. So we spent a lot of time preaching to the choir. People that were already there, that already knew what was going on, but we wanted to kind of go on a road show. So I convinced him and Colleen and blessed them for the level of work that they did to do a show a month. We went on the road. We did one trip a month to different places throughout North Carolina to talk to people and to figure out what was going on. And this is some of the output that has come from that. One thing I will tell you is you all have your phones out already. You're all texting people, telling them what time you're going to get home. We're going to do a Menti. So when the time comes, grab your phone. You can keep texting if you want to, but I'd like you to answer some questions. So there's going to be some things that pop up for you. Just be prepared for that. All right, so these are the places that we went. We went to Wilmington, we went to Raleigh, we went to Greenville, we went to Asheville, we went to Kernersville, and Colleen in her wisdom used GIS to figure out where we were going to hit the most people in the state. So we actually chose these places because spatially we knew where we were going to be able to meet and talk to people. And this is, you've got the number of registered and the number of attendees. It was interesting to me, that attendee number for Asheville cannot be right. No, it was way more than that. People didn't sign in. Okay, so this is what happens when you don't sign in. Your data's bad, right? So my data's bad because we went to Asheville in November and the leaves were changing. And we had a lot of people come that didn't come back after lunch. So we did choose some places that we thought people would want to go. But these are all the different places we went. These are the number of attendees that we had. And this is the different types of participation that we had. So we had cities and towns, we had counties, federal agencies, universities, state agencies, companies, MPOs, tribal, and NGOs. So one of the things I'm looking at is the bottom of this list because it's by value, right? It's the number of people that attended. The ones at the bottom of this list, that's who I'm going after. These are the people that we don't have enough of that are participating. But I would also like to say that we had 8 state agencies, but if you think about your organization, and this is at a city, county, state level, how many people are in your agency that do different things that need to hear the same information? So that coordination has to feed not only down from one person, but it has to feed back out to everyone else. So we need to make sure that any information that we're hearing, we're getting you to bring in from lots of different groups and we're getting you to push that back out to lots of different groups. And one of the people that has done that significantly well is Miss Natalie, who is the chair of the local government committee. Many of you got stickers. I was hawking them out, trying to get them out of my bag, so wear those with pride. And she came to just about every meeting, and I was going to give her a moment to talk about just what her views on the outreach meetings were. She's got a purple microphone.
Purple. Hello? Oh,
There you go.
okay. Sorry about that. So,
Stand up.
hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. So the meetings were fantastic. What we wanted to do was get out in front of everybody, see people face to face. If you've been to the LGC quarterly meetings, y'all can see me, but I can't see you. So I got to meet some of y'all, not only from local governments, but from different agencies, because local governments are important, but to me, it's also important to have every other agency knowing what the local government are doing and the data that we're providing. So that was great to get out in front of y'all. But one thing that we did kind of struggle with is y'all are all sitting here today, but there's plenty of GIS staff that never made it and we don't talk to. So if you're here and there's more GIS staff in your organization, I want y'all to be the tree roots that reach out and bring them in with you because we want all levels of the GIS stuff to be involved. And that's kind of what we were going for with the outreach. And we did find new people there. And we just want to keep building on that. So, but the outreach meetings were fantastic to get to see everybody where they are. And we got a lot of feedback of the appreciation that we weren't just in Raleigh. And everybody wasn't expected to show up in Raleigh for for the information. So we want to do that again in some capacity. We can't do those outreach meetings like we did, one a month for 6 months or 5 months, whatever it was.
I might get fired.
Yeah, but we'll find some way to kind of continue that level of participation at the local level. We will find a way to do that because it was fantastic. But
And one thing I'm thinking is that we need to give you a means to, we always called it train the trainer, to take the information that you're gathering to build your own groups and your own connections so that you can actually spread that further. And let us know if that's something you're interested in or how we can help you set that up. One other big kudos I want to give to Natalie is she's done an immense job at bringing in a huge number of participants to the local government committee group. So they do these virtually, so you don't have to travel. We know that that's an issue. We would love to see each other in person. We're going to have to do some cute meets or something like that so we can make sure we see each other in person periodically. But we do want a means to talk to each other, whatever that means may be. All right, so these are the responses. Who knows about what the different committees are within the GICC? So some of these I was really surprised by. I guess one of the comments that I got back from many of the chairs was, we don't know what you need. This was especially true with the Federal Interagency Committee. Jeremy was here. He is the new chair of that group. And we need to work harder on letting them know what we need from them. I think that is true across the board. Sometimes what we need is you to leave me alone, right? So the other thing we're working on is how do we coordinate and just have one person ask instead of 12? And is there a means that we can share data in a way or share information in a way? It might be you can't have my data, but we need to be able to share that in a way that everyone knows the answer to that and you don't get 25 phone calls a day. So that's a real big goal as well. But I was happy with, out of our participation, the responses, the number of people who knew what these groups were, but only 2 of them are more than half. So we've got some work to do. All right. This is just a lot of stuff, and there was a lot more, and we do have all of the responses that were provided to us. We asked these questions, and some of these you will be able to answer yourself in a few minutes. So these are just some, what does geospatial coordination at the state level mean, right? How does this help you? No duplication, making sure data is available, empowering clients, annexation data, advocating for dedicated funding. So these are all things that were some that popped up, usually more than once if I put them on this slide, but we got many, many responses. So we're taking those back and we are trying to make sure that we're incorporating those into the work that we're doing in the future. And then what do you think could be improved? And one thing I do want to say here is, as Tim said, we're not going to hold your feet to the fire. We don't expect you to answer in a certain way. We want to know what's broken. Because if we don't know what's broken, we can't fix it. So what are the things that are broken? What are the things that you need help with? What are the things that we're not doing right? What are the things we're spending time on that you don't care about? What are the things that are most important? Those are all questions that will come up as well. And then what organizations would you like to hear from? So this is another question that will probably pop up for you guys, but these are some of the answers that they provided us. And with that, I actually want to give Bob Coates a chance to speak. Because he came to every meeting, and he is with the Office of State Budget Management. He works with the census team, and he has done immense work in the state. I am exceptionally grateful for what he's done. I think there's a microphone right behind you, Bob, that's coming. And I just want to give you a chance to talk about your participation in outreach and if there was something that we should do different or better or change.
Thanks, Hope, and thanks for everyone who came to the outreach sessions. I'm Bob Coates with the Office of State Budget and Management. I'm the Governor's Census Liaison and the coordinator for the North Carolina State Data Center Network to facilitate the application of census data back to local governments, but also we were heavily involved with getting ready for the 2020 census. So all that work you did in verifying boundaries and addresses and statistical geographies, all of that we were kind of coordinating from the state level to make sure North Carolina was well counted and well prepared for. In working with those federal programs, we ran up against a lot of things that we heard from the local government committee, is that there's a lot of duplication of effort. You guys don't have an unlimited amount of time or resources, so how can we work efficiently and effectively on that? A lot of these federal programs also are top-down reaching. So they're going to the mayors, the county commissioners, the folks who aren't doing the actual work, which is y'all, and there's this big gulf between those two. So not only in regard to census stuff, but in geospatial work. And one of the messages that we consistently heard through the outreach sessions is there needs to be better bridging. So yes, we need to talk to management to let them know what the tasks are, but we also need to talk to you about what the work is. And we also need to be working to kind of bridge those two. And that's a big challenge, but I hear you 100%. It's something that I've run into almost every day on the job. I think I want to give a lot of credit to the GICC as a whole because they've been working on that my entire time in state government to find ways of what's the greatest common denominator, looking at the resources that we have. How can we find a system that maybe doesn't fit everybody's needs, but fits the most needs and comes up with products and resources that collaborate and work well together? So they're doing that based on the input that we've got. These sessions were great in hearing more about is that working or is it not working? And I think Hope and Natalie do a great job of saying our ears are open. We want to hear more. Ideally, if there were unlimited resources from the state, there'd be a lot more of these outreach sessions with a dedicated staff to do nothing but keep you guys informed and hear back from you. So we're going to have to be creative with how we do that in the future. But I've seen nothing but a sincere desire from the GICC. And speaking for myself, absolutely. We want to hear what makes your life easier, understanding that a lot of the gears that are turning you may not see from the local end, but there's some big wheels that turn at the state end. Understanding how we the best data and resources for you folks locally and have that supported the best way possible from the state level. That's where we are on this. And we can only do that if we're talking back and forth. So I think the outreach sessions were great. We want to keep the momentum going, however that looks like. So I was thankful for the invite to be a part of those sessions. Thank you for your input, and please keep it going.
And thanks to Bob for coming back today.
Glad to.
All right, so other topics of interest. I don't know how much you guys know about what goes on at the GICC, how the priority lists are set. There is a goals list that is out there for the work that is prioritized for what we're trying to accomplish. We cannot do everything. We all do have other jobs. So we are trying to make sure that we're putting on the top of the list the things that we need to hit first. We need you to tell us what that is. So these other topics, these are just some things that came up. I love the fact that equity came up. It's a big part of what I'm doing right now. I think it's very valuable and very important to consider the work moving forward. Drones are also a big topic of conversation. Data sharing is always on the top of our list. But transportation, gap analysis, stormwater, utilities was another big one. We've been working on infrastructure. I will say, do you know the GICC website off the top of your head?
It's just ncgicc.gov.
.gov. Okay, so ncgicc.gov is the website. I always just Google it because I can't remember anything. But you can go see every committee and every working group that we have. And if there's something you're interested in, even at a slight level, let us know, and we can get you in the mix for participation in that. All right, now's your chance. Everybody pull your phone out. This is a little Menti questionnaire, and this is what we did during the meetings. So you'll be able to scan this code, and it's going to ask you a series of questions as we move forward. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ramble in between the questions so that you guys have time to answer. What I would like you to do is if a topic comes up that you would like to talk about during that, you can talk about it instead of me. And we have Brett and we have David who have microphones, so raise your hand real high. I can't see if you do this. So raise your hand real high if you want to say something, and we'll go from there. All right, here's your first one. Where are you from? Some of my guys that are not on the map, sorry, just get close. We'd love to know which direction you're in. I expect 560 responses, right? I don't think we're going to get quite that many. I am from Graham, middle of the state. Where you're at now? Yes. Where you're at now? Where if you're from? I'm from Rockingham County. I grew up on a tobacco farm. Look at here, 67. I like it. Mom's basement. This is not a dating app. I don't need to know where you're living. Burlington is good. Look at here. I'm loving it. This is fantastic. Vietnam? Frying pan, nice. I love all the nicknames for all the towns. Those are fantastic. I'm waiting for it to slow down a little, but I'm not going to stop until it keeps going. All right. So what this shows me is that we have a great diversity of different ways that GIS is impacting different places in the state of North Carolina. This is the group of people that I need to be part of this conversation. However, you can participate. So this is fantastic. All right, next one. So what committees are you most familiar with? This is where those other numbers came from. You have a scale bar here. You should be able to pick which ones you know the best. Is there anyone who's working on something in one of these committees or has questions to one of these committees? Do it, girl. LGC, and I know I talk about the LGC a lot, but I am phenomenally impressed with how much they are providing. So they are really coming to the table with true issues, with true things that, and I love y'all. Don't come to me whining. I need constructive criticism. I need a way to fix things. I need solutions. So I definitely want to hear what you have going on, but I'm not going to listen to you crying a beer. I need to make things happen. So we want to make sure that we have all of those pieces available. You definitely won, Natalie. How do you join one? Great question. So if you want to join one of the committees, you can simply go to the GICC website. You can submit to contact one of us. It'll have contact names on there. I believe it's got Tim and Colleen and a couple other people. Yep, Colleen's right here in the center. So you can, go ahead. Oh, Colleen needs a microphone.
Open meetings, by the way.
Yes,
These are not restricted kinds of things. So
Yeah, these are all public meetings. You're welcome to come. The calendars are on the website, so you can see when all those are.
Okay, so if you want to join the LGC, sign up for the NCGIS listserv. All of the announcements go out through that, the meeting invites. If you want to join the SCUC or the SMAC, actually the SCUC or the FIC, there's on the GICC website, there's a listserv that you can sign up and you'll get the meeting announcements. The SCUC is an open meeting. You can go on to the GICC website and see when the meetings are. There'll be a link so you can join in. Same with the main council. And did I cover them all? I think so. TAC. The TAC will
TAC.
also have those links. And if you're a technically oriented person, let us know because we have new things going on in the TAC. So
Yeah.
we might give you a call and say, hey, you get to help us out now.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm going to give you guys a 20-second overview. The SMAC, the State Mapping Advisory Council, they handle LiDAR imagery, roads, parcels, all of the structure and pieces. The State GIS Users Committee, which is actually led by Melanie here in the center of the room, they handle the GIS works, like keyword tags and how the GIS systems work and how they're integrated. The TAC handles technical advisory. They're doing the infrastructure working group. They're also doing big data this year. So they're looking at what are the large-scale systems and architecture that are part of the work that goes on. The local government committee handles everything local government. So normally gets a feed from all the others to tell them what's going on at the state, and the FIC is the federal. Can you attach these links to other committees? Somebody say yes to that.
yes.
Yeah,
We can do
Colleen's got it. Okay. All right, how does geospatial coordination at the state level impact your organization? I want to know why it's important for you, for the state to coordinate. So these are some of the things that we listed before, some of the information that we had out there about not duplicating effort. We have specific needs for not duplicating effort on the state level. It is a requirement that we actually know that we're not doing the same work as someone else. So we try to make sure that we have a really clear understanding of what work is going on. I have answers and I don't know why they're not showing up. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. So these are some things that we've heard that's wonderful, sharing data. I will put out there, just as Adam spoke earlier, standards are huge for us. I've had a lot of people tell me, I just want to know if there is a standard, and I will do it that way, but if you don't give me a standard, I'm going to do it however I have to do it. So standards are really big, and it would be great to do that across state boundaries for different work that's going on. So that would be fantastic. If I flip, you can't answer anymore. That's why I'm just staring at the screen. But I love this. This is great. Not duplicating standard practices. I'm spoiled. Yes, you are. North Carolina has amazing data. Spoilt, my husband says, you spoilt rotten. So absolutely, we have amazing data. With amazing data comes amazing responsibility. So we have to make sure we keep that data up, and we have to make sure we know what's in that data so we can tell other people. Ooh, standards for cemeteries. I've had that question before from an emergency management perspective. All right, what I will do is I'm going to click forward. I will open this up after and let you guys keep answering for a while if you want to send this to other people. All right, few words. What areas do we have to improve? This is going to be a word cloud, so it can't be 12, like I don't need a paragraph. Couple words, what can we improve?
Well, yeah, it doesn't say it like that.
This is not a real sentence. I did this at 1 o'clock this morning. So, in a few words, here's the real sentence. In a few words, what are the things the state can do to improve the work that we're doing with the GICC? So I like these: communication, standardization, new parks, that's good. GIS job classifications, interesting. Staffing has been a big conversation. So one of the things that we're going to do with this is going to help us set priorities for the different groups. So if 25 people tell me that hydro is really important, that goes up on the list unless somebody else has got 35, right? So we're going to balance out kind of what the needs are here. Oh, pay. I can't fix that. I love word clouds. They're fascinating. Okay, we're going to keep going. Like I said, we'll open this up. I love training. Training is a really good one. If you answered training, go back to the comments and tell me on what. What do you need to know about? Because we may have to find somebody. I hate to flip, but we're going to run out of time. Okay, over the next 2 years, in what areas do we need to improve? So what are we going to do first? In 2-year time frame, what are the things we need to tackle first? What are the things that are most important to you right now that you have to deal with tomorrow in your office? Don't go to work tomorrow. That you have to deal with Monday in your office.
So if I could add to that, Hope.
Please do.
One of the responsibilities of the council is to report to the governor and the General Assembly annually on the accomplishments of the council, what's ahead, where do we need support as a state to move forward. So the council goes through a goal-setting process every biennium. So we're due to do that in the next 2 or 3 months. So this is very timely to get your input for these questions. And as Hope said, that drives whatever the council accepts as goals, that is driven down to the individual committees that Hope outlined earlier. So there's a connection between what that committee's work plan is based on those goals that are set. So it's fairly structured.
Well, and I have to say at this point, there's only one Tim, and there's only one Colleen, and there's only one Brett, and there's only one David, and there's only one Matt. There's not that many of them. And they run every committee meeting, and they run every topic that we have. So there's only so many hours in the day. We can actually do the math and figure out how much time we have that they can spend toward this. Plus, they do other things. So we need to make sure that we're prioritizing in the right way, and we want to really focus on what your needs are. All right. So what state GIS needs are not being met right now? Is there a data set that's missing? Is there an analysis that's missing? Is there some sort of work that you're doing that you can't find any information for? Is there a gap somewhere that we need to know about? And again, I know that some of these are one-word answers. If you have something specific, stick it in the comments. We'll be able to pull those out, so we'll know what those are. Private drinking wells, yep. County boundary survey, Gary Thompson's your man. Wetlands, trails. Trails is an interesting one. There was a topic that came up this week. Apparently, 2023 is the year of the trail. So somebody brought up we should really look at trail data. I love the idea. We just got to find the people that really want to do that. Well, yes. I would love for him to. Where's Ben at? Oh, there he is. He's in the middle. Somebody give that man a microphone.
Don't worry, Brett, I'm on it.
Comment on,
Color infrared.
oh, color infrared. Yes, we have color infrared. Since 2020, we've been collecting the fourth band with all of our imagery products. It has continued through this statewide cycle, so when we complete this year in 2023, we'll have the full state of color infrared for the first time. So,
Awesome.
And then we're continuing that in the next cycle as well. So
And tell me why color infrared is important.
color infrared is important, especially if you're doing automated feature extraction, impervious surfaces, building footprints, any of that kind of work. Color infrared is important. And then as we get multiple cycles of color infrared, you can do change detection and a lot of cool stuff without having to manually heads-up digitize things.
So who can tell me about parcel information? Who's doing that? And the
Right here.
CJAs, are you doing that? Oh, I had a question come up this week that was historical parcels. Are we storing historical parcels?
We are. Those
Okay.
are available. The years that are available is going to depend, vary by county. But you can go to NC1 Map and historical parcels are available.
And tell us who you are, because you're,
Elizabeth Daniel, I work with CGIA. I manage the parcel project.
yeah, there's only one of her too. And one of Darren. All right, let's keep going. All right, what data layers do you feel we should prioritize? I'm gonna skip that one. What are the barriers? What are the barriers to us being effective? What are things that are gonna keep us from doing what we need to do? Let me give you some of mine. Money, time, people, coordination, people who don't want to share, politics. You got to be careful. I thought you raised your hand. Not meeting enough. All right, if you put not meeting enough in there, tell me how often you think we should meet in the comments. I'm trying not to spend too much time.
These are good.
I feel like we're getting really good answers. It's like, I need to let you
So
guys.
if you're willing to share, the person that wrote competitive salaries, are you a local government or a state government agency?
And this is anonymous.
Yeah, right.
So you're not going to get fired.
not
I don't know
going
who you are. I don't know who's answering. So we're not going to tell anybody that you said this.
Right.
Sometimes that changes the answer.
Well, the reason for asking is, how widespread is this issue?
Right,
Is
correct.
it at all levels across the state, the breadth and depth? Because those are the kinds of things that we could make a point
Yes,
about in the annual
absolutely.
report to the governor and to the General Assembly.
Absolutely. And we've talked a lot about GISs everywhere. We've looked at that this whole week. That's what we've seen, is that GIS is in all facets in all different places. And what we also know is that you're not called GIS. Or sometimes you're called GIS and you're not doing it. Or sometimes you're very specific. Sometimes you're doing LiDAR. Or sometimes you're only doing some sort of analysis for something specific that uses a special set of data. Sometimes you're using R. Sometimes you're a Python scripter. So what does GIS mean? We're trying to figure out the breadth and depth of GIS in the state so that we can show the value of the work that's being done at a state level, but then you would be able to take that to a local level. And with the people with the pocketbooks, you would be able to say, this is what you need. Go Phillies. Okay, y'all are getting tired.
Okay.
All right.
Not sure we can impact that.
Yeah, I can't really do anything about that. I'm not sure I agree. So if there are no hurdles, what do we do first? What's the first thing? What are you tackling number one? I love the county boundaries. So I will give you as much information as I know, and I am going to point you back to North Carolina Geodetic Survey. The county boundaries are on a county-by-county basis. It has to be worked out with the county and with the adjacent county that is being measured. So county boundaries are something that is very important to Gary Thompson. He's talked about it a whole lot, but there is a lot of coordination. So if that is something that you really need and something that needs to happen, you need to go to your powers that be and get them to go back to Gary Thompson and say, this is something that's necessary, and he is masterful at working with people to get things moving. But that is definitely something that there's going to have to be some backing for. Building infrastructure. Zoning. Again, what I see in a lot of this is metadata, is that whole standardization. If we could get a plan for how things work across the board, that would be great. All right, keep going. Oh, I have reached the end of my presentation. Okay, so at this point, you guys have to talk. So you've seen the numbers. I'm actually going to go back to, I'm going to get Matt to go back to the slide that talks about at the beginning, that talks about kind of what people, yeah, let's look at other topics. So tell me, from what you've heard today, from the conversations that we've had with the different outreach groups, I would be very, very interested in your opinion of how we keep that going. And I would be interested in your opinion about any of the topics that you need to hear about. So is there anything specific that you guys would like to know or would like to do with the GICC? Oh, I've got one right here, David. Miss Julia Harrell.
So this is sort of out of left field, but about 2 weeks ago, I found out there's a volunteer effort to create a North Carolina, South Carolina zoning atlas. This is not affiliated with any governmental body. It's a Code for the Carolinas. It's part of a greater effort for being run at a national level by Code for America.
So at a national level. So it's not like a local GA.
Right.
Okay.
It's a Code for America, and then at our level, it's Code for the Carolinas. And so I got involved with it and found out what they were doing or what they were planning to do. It's just getting started. And I was a little dismayed to find out that their plan basically was just to have their volunteers go scrape stuff off websites and not talk to anybody. So I told them, I said, look, we have resources and we have partnership efforts already underway amongst planners, local government, state government, the GICC. We need to leverage that. Because zoning is something that people have perennially, had dreams of getting a consistent data set. Kind of like, the long effort we started so long ago with parcels that has now come to fruition. So I told them I would bring this up here at the meeting, and
you have fulfilled your promise.
I will send out some information to the NC Plan listserv and the NCGIS listserv next week. But we would love to do this the right way instead of having people go scrape websites, because actually none of the people on their volunteer group have much of a GIS background, and they don't really know what they're looking at. So I thought this would be the right place to try and steer them in the right direction.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it actually brings up a really good point. There are always ongoing initiatives. So there's all sorts of initiatives for people that they're tackling one problem, where there may be adjacent works that are going on that really would feed what they're trying to work on, even if it's not exactly what they're doing. So I think it's really valuable to bring these to the table and to bring these people who are working on these to the table so that we can make sure at least we know what's happening. That's our goal, right? Coordination. So we just want to know what's going on. Yes, Rich.
Just tagging on to Julia's thing, I was telling her that there's currently a bill in the legislature, I forget if it's Senate or House Bill 54, they're calling it the Make North Carolina Home Act, but one of the parts of that bill is that it actually directs the state to create a centralized website where you can see all of the development ordinances and rules that are in place for every jurisdiction. And so I thought that if that effort were to get any momentum in the General Assembly, that obviously the mapping of that zoning would have to be a component of that mass collection and might be a source of funding for that type of thing if the General Assembly were to fund it.
Yeah, that's excellent. Do I have any, oh yeah, I got one back here. This gentleman right here. Do I have any universities in the room? I know Jeff Essick is here. A couple of universities. There are several, if you got any grad students, send them to the GICC because we can give them all sorts of work that needs to be done. So, I mean, some of these are things that you can actually pass off to the university and either work with the university to have them cover the charge or use it as a project moving forward. But I want to make sure that we're keeping all of those groups involved. Yes, sir.
So one thing that I think would be interesting is if, we go to NC1 Map for all of our data and stuff, but it'd be really great to have a location where many of the great presentations and products that we've seen over the last few days could be dropped outside of just a YouTube video where we're going to review it, but have a place that when we're looking for ideas on how to improve, we can see it all in one place rather than going to each county, filtering through whatever department their GIS may be in to find whatever products they've come up with. A centralized location that can let us see what our peers are working on, but then also, that'll also make it to where we can reach out to them as well.
I love that. I think that you would not believe how many arms I have to twist just to get people to tell me what they're doing. So I think that it would, that's definitely something that would benefit. We would have to look at level of effort that it would take to do something like that, but we can definitely take it back to the local government group and see if there's a place that we can get that information and then how we would move forward. Okay, I've got someone. Oh, here he is. Oh, you're
Back to the discussion of zoning for a second, just as merely as a point of interest, actually. Out on the far west end of the state, Cherokee and Clay counties actually, and this may come as a surprise, I know to a lot of you that are in the more urban areas of the state, Cherokee and Clay County actually have no zoning outside of incorporated towns and cities. So that is one thing, just to that end, one challenge that may come about in looking to look at that on a regional level. We don't have zoning in some areas, in the more rural areas, like I said, at least the west end of the state. I can't speak for the rest of it, but that may be a challenge in terms of looking at things on a regional basis because our counties honestly don't want it. We have ordinances that cover specific matters, but we don't want zoning because it leaves us open for agricultural use and other matters and not encumbering our land in ways that we wouldn't then be able to use it the way we need to.
Sure. And let's just talk about devil in the details, right? So every person in this room has a different job that they have to do every day. And our job, with all of us sitting in here together, is to figure out how all those things work together. Now, I am not going to change Clay County's mind on what their zoning ordinances are, nor should I try. However, I do want to know what their opinion is so we can get that incorporated into a larger understanding of how all of these things work together. Now, I know you guys have all worked with data and data from different places, and all of that, that's what you do. You spend all your time tagging these things back together, trying to make sure how they all work and how they will perform, and sometimes you got a null void. It's just in there. So we just have to make sure that we have an understanding of what each of the needs are so that when we do come up with standards, requirements, processes, locations for where things are stored, we have a means to do that consistently, and we won't run into issues with the fact that Clay County has made that decision. So thank you. Others? Kat?
I'm particularly interested in emergency response for locations or areas that aren't addressed,
Yes.
whether that's on the side of a cliff in a park somewhere or on a greenway or trail. And I'm looking for consistency of implementing this across the state so that wherever you happen to be, you know what the procedure is in order to get 911 to come assist you if you have an emergency.
And that's an ongoing issue as well. That's come up in many places. So trails, you're the trail. Our river systems, a lot of times we don't have a means that if something does happen to you, we can't find you because you're not somewhere that's trackable. Or there's one access that's 4 miles away that we have to bring specialized equipment to get to you. So that's definitely a conversation that needs to happen. Again, I can't decide for a county or a city what their response procedures are going to be. However, getting all those guys in the same room to talk about how GIS can help them and what those things need to be is definitely a conversation that needs to happen. I keep going back to that. It's in our name. All we do is coordinate. I'm not going to buy you anything. You know, we're not going to fund something, but I am going to say, I know a guy, he's doing that already. I know this lady over here, she's got a plan for that, you know, that this is where you go to talk to this person. So that's our goal, is to make sure that we're all talking to each other so we don't have to redo work that's already been done. And we don't do the same thing over and over again. Other questions? Other comments? I want to say once again, I wish that I could clone Colleen Kiley. She has been immense in the work that she has done for the GICC, and that, of course, is saying nothing about the rest of the team. They are doing massive amounts of work. I appreciate them, but Colleen's the one I talk to all the time. So she's the one that I go to for anything about any of the committees. We want you a part of this conversation. We need you a part of this conversation. If you are not a part of this conversation, I'm taking it as personally my fault, because we need to know how we are going to impact one another. So this is very important to the work that we are doing on a day-to-day basis. I'm going to leave the last of it to you.
Sir. And I would encourage each of you to think about volunteering. I know you're very busy where you are, but we're always in search of folks who want to take that maybe a small step toward contributing at the state level beyond what you're already doing with data contributing. I'm talking about committee work. Maybe if it's just a limited time, you're an expert on a certain issue, and we're tackling that issue. We need you. We don't have enough of you contributing at the statewide level. So consider it and reach out to us.
We do have all levels. So it might just be reviewing documents. It might just be coming to one meeting. It might just be showing up for a specific topic. So we're not expecting you to, run something immediately.
Right.
If you want to do that, there's a place. However, there's lots of different ways to participate.
Yeah. And let's continue the conversation, get involved, and also plug for the conference. Make sure you fill out the evaluation form. I think this has been a good event, at least from our perspective, but we want to hear your perspective. Be honest, be frank, be whoever and whatever.
Yeah.
But respond to that survey, because it helps us plan the next one. And there's going to be a next one, because I think it's important for us to be together. So with that, thank you, and safe travels back home.
A little early, but.